Today, guys, I want to explain to you one of my favorite topics is the scriptures. I want to explain to you the Bible, what the Bible is, where it took place, the story of the Bible, and how it aligns with the Book of Mormon. Now, I know a lot of people don't believe in the Book of Mormon. It's okay. I totally understand. This is not to convince you that the Book of Mormon is true. This is to show you how they align and the stories align. So again, if you don't believe it, don't comment here and say, oh, that book's trash, because that's okay. Like, it's okay if you believe that. And if you haven't read it, I invite you to read it and then judge for yourself and pray about it. But this is more to show you, hey, how they align, how they work together. That's pretty much it. So a lot of people don't know the story that I'm about to share with you. And I'm super excited to share it. So I might have to make a couple of these videos because they're pretty in depth. And if you don't believe in the Bible or the Book of Mormon or what I'm saying, that's okay. I respect your opinion to believe what you want. I'm just showing you guys how they align. So even if you don't believe, it's like, hey, that's kind of interesting. That's how the book works with the Bible, and that's how what the Bible's about. Now, they might have differing opinions. That's why there's over 40,000 Christian denominations out there, is because so many people believe differently. Okay, so, and I got one guy here saying that it's blasphemy. I get it, sir. I get that you think the Book of Mormon is not true, but this video is not to argue with you or convince you. This is to show you how the story aligns. So please refrain from attacking me for my beliefs. Just watch, and if you don't want to watch, that's okay. You can take off. So here is how the story of the Book of Mormon and the Bible aligns. It all starts with the Bible, okay? So the Bible, if you guys don't understand what's going on in the Bible is made up of the Old Testament and the New Testament, okay? No one can refute that. That's truth, okay? The New Testament and the Old Testament, that's what it's about. It starts with the Old Testament. What is the Old Testament? The Old Testament basically starts out with the beginning of time, Adam and Eve, all right? No one really knows where Adam and Eve were after they were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, okay? Now, we have different beliefs in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints where we believe the Garden of Eden was, but that doesn't matter. After they were kicked out of the Garden of Eden for eating the fruit, all right, whatever fruit that was, apple, it doesn't matter. Okay, so after they're kicked out of the Garden of Eden, they were sent somewhere, all right? So a lot of people believe it's the Fertile Crescent between Asia and Europe, all right? So after Adam and Eve, so that is, if you guys can see this is the books of the Old Testament. You have Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and it goes all the way down, okay? If you guys can see that, those are the books in the Old Testament. What happens in Genesis, in the very beginning of these books, it talks about the beginning of time when God created the world in 6 days and he rested on the seventh. Okay, so that is, I'm starting with the Old Testament. All right, Genesis, Adam and Eve. All right, as you go down these books, it goes into Enoch. If you guys don't know who Enoch is his city was so righteous it was taken up into heaven. All right, and we believe that eventually it'll come down. We'll see the city of Enoch. After Enoch, there was, Noah, okay? Everyone knows the story of Noah and the ark, all right, the boat. Everyone was wicked, so God commanded, Noah to build the ark with the animals, and he was going to flood the world. So again, we don't really know pre-flood era where Noah, Enoch, and Adam and Eve were, but I'm just going to assume it's somewhere in the Fertile Crescent, all right, for this video. Now, in this time, this is where I'm going to start kind of relating it to the Book of Mormon. Again, if you don't believe it, that's okay. I'm just telling you the story. You don't have to believe it in this video. Go read it. Go pray about it. Anyway, in this story between Adam and Eve, Enoch and Noah, there's the Tower of Babel, okay, or Babel, whatever you want to say. This is going to be my tower, okay, the Tower of Babel. In this tower, this is where they try to build a tower that goes up to the heavens. They try to meet God, or the story is they're just trying to get up there. God confounds the languages of all the people in the land. He confounds them, which means he changes everybody's language, and that's where potentially everybody's language is different in the world, and they all couldn't work together, so they all kind of maybe just dispersed and were like, hey, let's just go with people who speak our language. Okay, this is where the Book of Mormon kind of comes in, and I'm going to explain it later after I get through the Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament. But it's believed that in the Book of Mormon, there's a story of a guy named Ether. Ether, the book is called Ether, but it's called the brother of Jared. So the brother of Jared, that's his name, he is in this time period of the Tower of Babel, and he prays to God and says, please don't confound the language of my people. I want to keep the language, and I want to follow you. All right, so God says, hey, you know what? I'm going to change everybody's language, but I'm going to send you to the promised land. I'm going to send you a land that no one really knows about, and it's over here in the Americas, okay? So that is, just keep that in the back of your head. The Book of Mormon is already bringing in the fact that before the Tower of Babel, or during the Tower of Babel, he sends Brother Jared and his people there on boats to the promised land. Nobody knows about the fact that they left. It was supposed to be like that, okay? This is the promised land. No one really knows about it until Christopher Columbus, according to history, right? But we're going to get into that later. So after the Tower of Babel, after Enoch and Noah, there's a flood, okay? There's a giant flood that apparently takes over the whole world. I don't know if it was like the whole world or if it was part of this land. It doesn't matter. All I know is that there was a giant flood, and after the flood, okay, after Noah lands, then there comes in like the later stories of the Old Testament, okay? Then you have Abraham. If you guys don't know who Abraham is, he's the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham sacrificed Isaac, and then Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel. Jacob changed his name to Israel. I'm not trying to like teach you guys everything. I'm just showing you how the story lines. The Old Testament is a story of after the flood, you have Abraham, okay, Abraham and his family, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel, the scattering of Israel. What happens later on is Jacob has 12 sons, all right? And later his name is changed to Israel. One of his sons goes to Egypt. His name is Joseph, okay? And, well, not goes to Egypt. He's pretty much, his brothers like sell him into slavery, right? And they take his color jacket and they're like, hey, you're going, we don't like you, brother. So he goes to Egypt. Later on, there's a giant famine. Joseph gets tight with the Pharaoh because he's a follower of God, and he basically like rises among the ranks, and God blesses him. His family that's like in the Jerusalem, like Israel area, I believe, they come to Joseph, not knowing that he's there, and they're like, hey, it's a famine, we need some food. Joseph surprises his brothers and is like, hey, surprise, it's me. You guys tell dad to come here. You can all live in Egypt, all right? So the Pharaoh gives them land. All the Jews start like prospering and living in the Egypt in this area, okay? Now, what happens with, Leviticus, Numbers, Exodus, that is the story of Moses. Moses later comes down and he liberates the Jews who after hundreds and hundreds of years are like becoming really strong, and the Egyptians are getting a little concerned about how many Jews there are, and they're like, hey, we should probably enslave these people. And Moses is sent by God to deliver them. Moses, and that's what's happening here in the Old Testament with Numbers, Deuteronomy. It's Moses saving, liberating, freeing the people. They go and travel in the wilderness for 40 years. Okay, is that literally 40 years? What that means, 40 years, it just means a long time. It doesn't mean it's like technically 40 years. It's just a way to say it was a long time. They journey in the wilderness for 40 years. They go back to the promised land, the land that God has given them. And that's why there's so many wars going on in that area, because a lot of people think that's their land, right? The Jewish people believe that's their land, and then the other, there's just a lot of fighting because everyone believes it's their land. Anyway, they go back there. They conquer the people that are there, and the Old Testament is a story of the Jews, following God and then not, and then getting, conquered by the Babylonians. There's there's the scattering of Israel. They come back. Pretty much this all happens, and this is like the Old Testament is just the prophecy and the dealing of the Jews with God. It's the book of the Jews, right? It's the dealing with God until the New Testament, okay? In the New Testament, we have right here, this is when Jesus Christ comes, okay? In the New Testament, in the first books, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, these are called the Gospels, all right? This is like the life of Jesus Christ, and this tells us about his ministry, his sacrifice, the Savior of the world, which I believe. If anyone's like, oh, you don't believe in Jesus, I do believe in Jesus. I love Jesus. He's my favorite, okay? So the Gospels explain Jesus' life. After the Gospels, after Jesus Christ dies and is resurrected, literally comes back to life, gets a perfect immortal body, right? And he shows it to the disciples. The books in the New Testament are the stories and the letters and the teachings of the apostles after Jesus Christ dies until the apostles are martyred, okay? And then we don't have any other scriptures according to modern beliefs that's over. It's it. There's no more scriptures ever. That's God's done talking to everybody after the apostle dies. That's what most people believe. I don't believe that, and neither do people that are part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We believe that modern revelation exists, that God still talks to man, and that's where the Book of Mormon comes in, okay? We don't believe that the heavens are shut. We believe that we still can talk to God, and he still has many things for us to know, and that the Bible, it is the Word of God. We believe it 100%. As far as it's translated correctly, it's gone through a lot of translations, but it's true. We believe that there's more. We believe that God will continue to have more until the end of time. Like, it's not like he just wanted to talk to the Jews and the people at this time. He's had many things to say before this that are in the ground. Like we don't even know all the records that God has had for people. We just know because there's so many books in the Bible that were taken out of the Bible that didn't make it. There is, like, you guys can look at it. It's like irrefutable. Okay, it's not debatable. We believe that there's more. Now, how does the Book of Mormon come into play here? All right, let's take a deep breath. Let me take a drink. If anything I've said here is like the timeline is not correct, it's like I'm just going off of my brain, all right? I don't have anything in front of me. This is just what I've learned. Now, okay, I'll wrap it up with the Old Testament is God's dealing since the beginning of time. Adam, Enoch, Noah, there's a giant flood, takes over the world, they land. Then it's later the prophet Abraham. Then Moses frees the Jews. They go to the promised land in Jerusalem. Then Jesus Christ, the Son of God, is born. That's where the New Testament comes in, and the Gospels teach us about that. And then the apostles teach us what Jesus Christ taught them. And then they're martyred and they die. And then after that, there's 40,000 different denominations in the world because everyone's trying to interpret the Bible, which is good. It's okay. I respect and I love everybody's belief, but that's what's happened. If you don't agree with that, that's okay. Now, how does the Book of Mormon come into play? So I told you guys about the Tower of Babel, all right? The Tower of Babel, or Babel, whatever you want to say, happened during Adam and Eve, like in the very beginning of time, Enoch, Noah, God confounded the languages. In the Book of Mormon, there's a book called Ether, where the brother of Jared, it's a story of the brother of Jared, his name's, we know his name, but it's long, so I'm just going to say the brother of Jared. That's what it says in the scriptures. He asked God not to confound his language, to change it. So God's like, you know what? You've been righteous. I have a promised land for you. You guys can read about it. If you're like, that sounds ridiculous, go read about it. It's a cool story, the Book of Ether. All right? Now, this is how the very beginning. Now, because the Book of Ether, it's like at the very end of the Book of Mormon. Okay, so that's not the very beginning of how the Book of Mormon starts. This is how the Book of Mormon starts and how this aligns. It's an amazing story. Again, I get pumped because I've read it like 40 times all the way through. Anyone's like, hey, you're dumb? It's like, hey, okay, whatever. If I'm dumb if I believe it, but I know it's true. So here's how the Book of Mormon takes place. So in the time of a king named Zedekiah, okay, there was a guy named Lehi. Lehi was a prophet, okay? He was a prophet that was preaching about Jesus Christ, and he was like, hey, everyone, you need to repent. And this was happening in Jerusalem, in the Promised Land, in this area of Israel, okay? It's King Zedekiah, okay? He's the king. Lehi is a prophet of God, and he says, hey, everybody, dude, I got to change the color. It's too similar. Okay, there you go. So he goes and preaches and says, hey, everybody, you need to repent, or the city of Jerusalem will be destroyed. Everyone's like, Lehi, you're an idiot. What are you talking about? That's not true. We're going to kill you. So God tells Lehi, he says, hey, they're going to kill you. Take you and your family, leave Jerusalem, leave the promised land, and I have another land that's for you, okay? I have a land here in the Americas for you guys. No one really knows about it. I've kept it secret because if everyone knew about the promised land, like this area, then the whole world would take over it, right? So God kept this secret for a long time, okay? And he only sent his chosen people there, right? So Lehi leaves with his family. They build a ship. No one knows like where exactly they landed. We don't know if they went here. I think they went this way, or who knows. All I'm saying is they took a ship and they landed. There's a lot of speculation on if it was here, if it was here. It doesn't matter where it landed, okay? So Lehi takes his family. He has a son named Nephi. Nephi is the youngest of his sons, okay? At the moment in the story when they're leaving. There's Laman, that's the oldest, Laman, Lemuel, and Sam, all right? So these are, and you guys can't see it because my video's in the way, but it's fine. So there's Laman, Lemuel, and Sam. They travel to the promised land that God has given them, and they land. And the Book of Mormon is about their dealings with God, communicating with them, and they're Jewish. Like they're of Jewish descendants. Like they came from here, okay? That's why the Book of Mormon, it's irrefutable, has chiasms, it has many different things that Joseph Smith, who translated the Book of Mormon, like wouldn't have known if, like at all, with a second grade education. But he was able to, if you've read the Book of Mormon, like you'll see that there's a lot of like Jewish tradition and things, chiasms, if look it up. So they land, and that's what Nephi is. First Nephi is the story of their travels from this area to the promised land, okay? He talks about his dad, what happened to his dad, what visions he saw, what prophecies, all about Jesus Christ, okay? Second Nephi as well, okay? So second Nephi, first Nephi, it's all Nephi, the story of his like interpretation and his writings following what's going on. Jacob is Nephi's brother. He's a prophet. Also, his dealings here, okay? We don't know where they're at again. You can speculate on that. Then Enos. Enos is the son of Jacob, Jerem, Omni, Words of Mormon. So once we get to the Words of Mormon, there's a guy named Mormon. That's why people call us Mormons, but we belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Mormon is the person that took all these records from all the people that have lived in this time, and he takes all of them and he compiles them into, he abridges them into one record and he calls it the Book of Mormon. That's why people call us the Book of Mormon, Mormons, because Mormon just takes the record of, again, all the civilization, thousands and thousands of years, and he puts it together in a book, and he says, this is what we're going to give you. We're going to put it in the ground because that's what God's commanded us to, and it's going to get discovered later, okay? So the Words of Mormon, he comes in at this part of the Book of Mormon, and he says, hey, everybody, I'm putting the book together. I just want to let you know who I am. And he explains like the purpose of what he's doing. Later, there's Mosiah, Alma, Helaman. These are all prophets. They're all descendants of Nephi. And a little bit to tell you about the story. When I told you that Nephi was the son of Lehi, okay, they travel, and he has older brothers named Laman and Lemuel. So it's Nephi, Laman, and Lemuel. When they land in the promised land, they don't get along. They think the older brothers are, they say, wicked, they're not righteous, they don't want to follow God, and they're like, hey, Nephi, we're not going to follow you, we're going to kill you. So Nephi, he takes off up north, wherever they're at, and the Laman and Lemuel, they form what's called the Lamanites, okay? And Nephi, anyone that follows him are the Nephites. The Book of Mormon is pretty much a story of the Lamanites and the Nephites like fighting for thousands of years until the Lamanites finally take over and conquer the Nephites and destroy them completely. Okay, so that's what's happening in the Book of Mormon. It's just their dealings. The Nephites are following God majority of the time. The Lamanites eventually destroy them because they become wicked. In the middle, like the climax of the Book of Mormon, like the best part is Jesus Christ, the resurrected Jesus Christ in 3rd Nephi, comes and visits the Nephites after his death and resurrection. So Jesus Christ told his disciples, he said, many sheep of this fold I must go visit, right? I have many sheep of this fold that I must go see. You guys can read that in the Bible. What we know from the Book of Mormon, that he came and visited the people, that you can read it. 3rd Nephi chapter 11 talks about Jesus Christ coming. He teaches his commandments. He teaches many of the same principles, or all of the gospel that he taught here. And he said, other sheep I have not of this fold I must go see. Is it possible that Jesus Christ also went and saw somebody here in Asia or Australia or Africa or anywhere, the Gentiles? Like, did he go and see the lost tribe, the 10 lost tribes of Israel, after they've been scattered for thousands and thousands of years? Is it possible they went somewhere else? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm never going to say, like, I know, because there's so many things I don't know. I'm not going to say he did not go see his other children. I don't know. But I do know that he went and saw the people because I've read the Book of Mormon. I've prayed about it, and it's true. He came here. Did he go anywhere else? I believe he probably, well, that's what he said. So I'm going to believe what he said. Okay? So Jesus Christ comes and visits the people in the Americas. After he visits them, they live, 4th Nephi basically talks about they live for like 400 years, okay, at AD, 400 years of righteousness. They don't sin, like they all live and they do their best. Now, after that, the Nephites and the Lamanites, like I told you guys, I'm going to go switch another color. The Nephites and the Lamanites, they start fighting again. They start going at it, okay? The Nephites eventually turn wicked. They don't choose the right, and my baby's up. She's up. She's up, everybody. I got to finish. Okay. So eventually, the Nephites turn wicked. They start fighting. At the very end of the Book of Mormon, Mormon is abridging it, and Moroni is one of the last Nephites, okay? Everyone's been pretty much exterminated. Moroni, the son of Mormon, at the very end, where we're right here, is he's got the plates that his father is abridging, and he's just adding a little bit more records before he buries it. And before he wraps up, he's like, hey, everybody, I'm about to go to my death. Like, I don't know when I'm going to die, but I found this record in ether. It's about the tower, the brother Jared that came from the Tower of Babel. I think you guys should read it because it's an amazing book. I'm going to put it in this book for you guys. So that's how we have the tower, the brother of Jared, the information about the Tower of Babel. Moroni puts it in before pretty much he goes to his death, or he gets translated, who knows. So after we read about ether, and we know that where that came from, Moroni's like, hey, everybody, I've taken this book, and I'm going to put it in the ground. I don't know who's going to find it. I think maybe he knew, right? But he's like, I'm going to put it, I have faith, and I will see you guys. I will see you guys before the judgment bar of God. You will test if these words are true. It is up to you. I can't convince you. In the last chapter of the Book of Mormon, Moroni 10, he invites everyone to read and pray about it. He says, go through the Holy Ghost. You can know that these things are true. And if you don't believe they're true, like, you will see me before the judgment bar of God, and God will say to you, did I not give you the words of this man? Judge for yourself. So that's my invitation to everyone, is read the scriptures, pray about them. I know that they're true because I've dived into them. I've dived in deep, and I've prayed, and I've read thousands and thousands of hours to bless my life. I invite you guys all to do the same. This has been my explanation of the scriptures. Hopefully this has been helpful. If you guys don't like it, that's okay. Pray about it and find out for yourself. No amount of evidence. I can't convince anyone that this is true, but I can share my testimony with the world that I know it's true. And I love sharing this message because I think it's the best message in the world. Jesus is the Christ. He has talked to his children all throughout time, and he wants us to follow him. He's given us commandments to live, and as you live them, you're going to live a happier life. Guaranteed. Promise. Okay? Doesn't mean you won't have trials. Doesn't mean you're going to have issues, but you will be able to you're going to be able to have more joy, I promise you. All right, have a great one, everybody. More videos to come. If you like it, let me know. If you don't let me know because I don't want to hear it. See ya.